lying in bed in the morning, maybe sometimes, not even really thinking about much, and just waiting to get up, and those thoughts can come to your mind. My mind, I don't feel like going to work today. I'm tired. I don't want to clean the house. I don't want to deal with these children. If you sit there and if you lay there and dwell on those thoughts, faith works in the positive and in the negative direction. We draw in what we constantly think about. If you think those thoughts, you're kind of setting the tone for a lousy day. I think it's so important right at the very start of the day. Even, before you check your email, before you read the news, or before you watch the news, before you see what kind of mood your spouse is in, at the start of the day, you need to say, Lord, I want to thank you for another great day that you've given me. Thank you, Lord, that I'm alive. Start the day off in faith. It's real simple. Don't focus on what's wrong. Thank God for what's right. Don't look at what you don't have. Thank God for what you do have. Don't always look at how far you have to go. Sometimes you need to look back and thank God for how far He's already brought you. Start the day off in faith. Find something to be grateful for. And when you do that, I believe it's setting the tone for a day of faith. Even I think about in the Scripture when David said, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad." When David said that, he wasn't kind of reporting what was happening. He was making a declaration of faith. In other words, David had all kinds of people coming against him, armies, people that didn't like him, people trying to stop him. Yet he got up in the midst of all that and said, "This is the day the Lord has made. I'm making a choice." And see, I think that's the real key because people come, Joel, I'm coming to your night of hope. I hope you'll cheer me up, man. I need encouragement. And I'll do my best. But I've learned this, that happiness doesn't fall on any of us. It's a choice that we make. Sometimes I don't realize we have different personalities. Some people are more optimistic. I've been smiling since I was in my baby pictures. But, God made us all different. But I don't believe that you have to use an excuse, well, I'm just sour, Joel. I just see the negative. No, it's a choice that we have to make. And see, the older I get, and I'm still young, but the older I get, the more I realize every day is a gift from God. Once we live this day, we can't ever get it back. And I don't want to sound negative, but what if we found out we only had 3 months to live? Don't you know we would live each day to the full? We would tell the people we love how much we love them. We wouldn't let little things bother us. Why don't you live each day now to the full, knowing that God's given you this day as a gift? In other words, life is too short to live negative, discouraged, mad at somebody, mad at your neighbor, not enjoying your work. Won't you let all that go and say, God, this is where you have me right now, and so I'm going to choose to be content. I'm going to be a blessing to somebody else. It's a decision that we have to make. Draw that line in the sand with me and say, all right, October 12, 2018, I'm going to start enjoying each day in spite of what's coming against me. Because here's the thing. I think I've got to give this disclaimer because I'm not saying everything's going to go right. Because, things come against us all, but, the beauty of faith is saying, hey, a lot's coming against me, but I still have a smile on my face. I know God is still on the throne. He's still in control. I'm going to make that choice to live each day in faith. Another part, and I just ramble because I don't have my notes, but here I go. Another thing, when you get up in the morning, that's number one. Start the day in faith. Number two, I don't know if these are points, but the next thing is, when you wake up, forgive the people that hurt you the day before. In other words, don't bring negative baggage from yesterday into today. I believe this is one of the keys why we don't live a victorious life. I mean, if we could see the bags that we were dragging, some of us, we're just dragging 14 bags of stuff that's happened over the last 30 years. You know what? Let all those bags go. You may have made mistakes, or maybe somebody, I'm not making light of anything, because sometimes, things have hurt, and things that weren't fair and lost, and I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying this, if you're carrying around bitterness and anger and what they said, and that wasn't right, all that's doing is poisoning your life today. If somebody has hurt you in the past, don't let them continue to hurt you by thinking about it. You're giving away your power. Let me tell you, God is your vindicator. God will make your wrongs right. If you will, I say it like this. God said He will give you beauty for ashes. Here's what I've learned. You have to let go of the ashes before you can receive the beauty. Are you holding on to ashes? What happened 20 minutes ago? What happened 20 years ago? Whatever it is, why don't you let that go and live this day afresh and new? Again, life is too short to carry around other kind of bags. Another thing, not just, other people hurt us, we go through disappointments, but talk to a lot of people and they say, well, Joel, you say God has something good for me, but you don't know the way I've lived. I've made mistakes. I blew my marriage. I didn't raise my children right. I wasted years on drugs. Listen, you can't do anything about the past. Maybe you can learn from it, but you can do something about right now. You can still get to where you're supposed to be. Why don't you quit beating yourself up? You have enough people in life already against you. Don't be against yourself. The moment you ask God to forgive you, He forgave you. He doesn't remember it. Now, the scripture says the enemy is called the accuser of the brethren. You know what that means? He'll whisper those thoughts. He'll probably tell you tonight, oh, this isn't for you. You know what you've done. He'll remind you of everything you've done wrong for the last 20, 30 years. He doesn't want you to feel good about yourself. But you've got to learn to tune those voices out. Listen, if anybody's bringing up the negative things in your past, it's not God. He doesn't remember it anymore. Sometimes we're remembering what we should be forgetting. We're forgetting what we should be remembering. We should be remembering that we are forgiven, that we are redeemed. Quit beating yourself up. Don't go around guilty and condemned. This is a new day. You are forgiven. I'll tell you this, God can still get you to where you're supposed to be. There is no mistake you've made that is too much for the mercy of God. Don't believe those lies that you just got to sit on the sidelines of life. I think about how in the scripture it talks about the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. I can understand why he's called the God of Abraham. Abraham was a great man, the father of our faith. I can understand why he's called the God of Isaac. Isaac was obedient, even willing to be sacrificed. But when it says he's the God of Jacob, that doesn't make a lot of sense. If you know the scripture, Jacob was a deceiver. He went around cheating people. He tricked his brother out of his birthright. Yet he's called the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What was God saying? I'm not just the God of perfect people. Not just the God of people that have never made a mistake. I'm the God of people that have blown it. The God of people that have failed. The God of people that have had a rough past. It's interesting. Later in life, Jacob got on the right path, started making better decisions. God even changed his name from Jacob, which means deceiver, to Israel, which means prince with God. He could have been known as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. His new name, once he was redeemed and restored, makes more sense to me. But God on purpose left it the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to forever settle it. I'm not just the God of perfect people, I'm the God of imperfect people too. Now, you may have made mistakes, done things you're not proud of. Be encouraged tonight. He's the God of Jacob. He's still your God. Why don't you get back in the game? Quit believing those lies that you have to sit on the sidelines of life. God doesn't use perfect people. I wouldn't be up here. God uses ordinary people that have flaws, weaknesses, and shortcomings to do extraordinary things. I think about even in the scripture. Let me see if I can remember some of the people God used. I mentioned Jacob was a cheater. David had an affair. Paul was a murderer. Noah got drunk. Jonah ran from God. Miriam was a gossip. Mary was a worrier. Thomas was a doubter. Gideon was insecure. Sarah was impatient. Elijah was moody. Moses stuttered. Abraham was old. Zacchaeus was short. And Lazarus was dead. Let me ask you, why can't God still use you? Why can't you get back in the game and become who He's created you to be? You got to shake off the guilt. Shake off the negative voices that are pulling you down. This is a new night of victory. God is asking you to get back in the game. Stir